Hey guys, welcome back. It's Neon. I'm here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Disney again.
Yeah.
Again, because that's all everybody talks about now because they own, like, everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's a small world. It's getting smaller.
Yeah, yeah,
they
pretty
own
much.
everything. But we're going to talk about Disney's debt load and if that should be a cause for concern for people. And, you know, Disney is massively, massively in debt now. And they've been on a bit of a spending spree. The question is, can they keep it up? You know, will they keep it up? Mm-hmm. And, you know, they had a few notable misfires. A couple of movies misfired. Galaxy's Edge and Disneyland has misfired.
Yeah.
They seem to be missing the mark on a few things. And now they've got the streaming service, which, you know, may or may not do well. We don't know. And we're going to talk about how when Disney misfires in one division, they usually go to another division.
Most often the parks.
Usually the theme parks to bleed people for more money.
Right.
Literally.
And we're seeing that.
Nickel and diming people.
Yeah.
Or pennying people.
Because our thing is the theme parks, and I can tell you we're seeing that.
Before we get started, I just want to give a thanks to all of you who have subscribed.
Yep.
We hit 50,000 subs this week.
Yep.
Thank you so much for that. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Helps the channel grow.
On to 100,000.
On to 100,000, yeah. Yeah, on to 100,000. So, all right. Disney is in a lot of debt. You sent me this article yesterday.
Yeah, I think it was yesterday.
Yeah, about these 4 measures indicate that Walt Disney is using debt extensively. We're going to talk about kind of what that means.
It's not always a bad thing. I mean, any company has to have debt. That's just, you know, goes with it. But we'll talk about, you know, why it could be a bad thing. Go ahead.
So a fund manager at Berkshire Hathaway says, make no bones about it, when he says the biggest investment risk is not the volatility of prices, but whether you will suffer a permanent loss of capital. When we think about how risky a company is, we always like to look at its use of debt, since debt overload can lead to ruin. We note that the Walt Disney Company does have debt on its balance sheet, but is this debt a concern to shareholders?
I don't know. Are you concerned?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit. I'll tell you why, because there's a pattern here. What is Disney's debt? You can click the graph below for the historical numbers. Actually, I found a better chart here. If you start, you know, you look, Disney's debt now is what? Yeah, $37 billion in debt. And looking back through time here, from 2005 to present, it's been pretty consistent. Mm-hmm. You know, all this growth, all these acquisitions, even...
Well, their equity, of course, is higher, which is good.
Right. But their debt, you know, their equity's gone up. Their debt has been pretty stable until the last, 2 years, and then it starts to creep up. And boom!
Yeah.
You know, all of a sudden we've got all this debt.
Well, I like the other chart. I'll tell you why. Go back to the other one. Because what it shows here is interesting. It says that Walt Disney has $58.2 billion in debt, which is an increase of $23.7 billion. So it's almost doubled their debt in 1 year. But they have a cash reserve of $6.73 billion. So it makes its net debt about $51.5 billion if everything was even. So their cash reserve, now that doesn't count their equity, but what they have available right now makes them still in debt to $51.5 billion. $51.5 billion.
Yeah, but the cash reserve is not as high as I would think it would be for a company like the Walt Disney.
I'm sure they could liquidate things, but they have to sell things, and they're not going to want to do that. So what's this mean? Well, basically, they're talking about what's due in the next year. So some of the stuff's due in the next year. So the Disney has liabilities of $44.6 billion due in 12 months. Within 12 months. So a year. Okay.
So this is why they're freaking out so much about Star Wars and yeah.
And then they have liabilities of $59.6 billion due beyond the 12 months. So they had the $6.73 billion in cash. They also have receivables valued at $15.7 billion within 12 months. So their liabilities are totaling $81.8 billion. They're worth $249.5 billion. So, I mean, they could get it if they have to. So, I mean, the fact that they're worth more than what they owe, there's still a good risk. Right. However, they have $44.6 billion due in 12 months.
Yeah, so those movies, episode 9 better make a lot of money.
Yeah, so that's what we're seeing, this sudden, okay, now, in the last couple years, which you go back to the other chart again, in the last couple years, when did it start, around 2016, 2017?
Yeah.
Okay, That's when we started seeing the, oh, look, boom, we're going to start raising ticket prices again. These weird ticket prices increases more than once a year, what used to be once a year.
Yep.
Boom, we're seeing, oh, now parking is going to be, raised. Oh, and now you have to pay to park at the resorts even if you're staying there. And things like that. Now you're starting to see that kind of stuff, trickle in. They started, hacking their dining plans, cutting back on those for their free dining days and stuff like that. Were you gonna say something?
Yeah, well, we're gonna talk about that, and actually, an article you did we joked about nickel and diming people, that Disney's nickel and diming people, and they literally are I guess pennying people because the pressed pennies, which are very popular at Disney parks,
they're 51 cents, 50 cents on your 1 penny. They now are $1.
They're now $1, and this is on top of, let's see, they're charging people to park overnight now at the hotels. That went up. They're charging a minimum for Bell services now. It used to be a complimentary, and you just paid a tip. They are, just raising prices across the board on food and snacks, in particular pretzels. I know we had a video talking about the woman having a meltdown over a pretzel. But they went from $5 to $7. Do
you have the article where they're talking about Galaxy's Edge prices? We'll go there in a minute. Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
Okay, so basically what happened is they used to have 51-cent pennies. Well, now you can use cash and a credit card, and their takeaway is, well, look, you don't have to carry all that change around. And guess what? In that $1, your penny's included. So where it used to,
how generous.
I know, where it might used to cost you for 40 pennies, like $20.40. It now costs you $40 for 20 pennies. So literally half. So double their money. 49 cents per, for whatever. And it's just like, this is what they're replacing it with. So a penny machine. Penny machines. Now, it's still cheap. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and quibble about that. It's still a cheap souvenir for Disney.
But it adds up.
It adds up.
50 cents more per pressed penny, and there are a lot of people getting pressed pennies. Yep. It could theoretically be millions of dollars a year just in pressed pennies.
And I'm sure just because they're using bills now, it's going to save them on having people count change and all that, running through the machines and all that. So I'm sure it saves them a whole bunch of money, and they make a whole bunch of money. But just raising things here and there. And then I sent you another article today about raising prices. So this is the article. WDW News Today put this up. I guess at Disneyland, they have now started upping the prices on their merchandise already at Galaxy's Edge.
And this happens. It starts to creep up. So now we're talking the $44 creatures, Loth Cats, are now $49. And we're talking, this is only 2 months.
Yep.
2 months. And they're already... making
well, now it's like 3 months.
But but still, within a couple of months of raising the prices. And they did this in Pandora, too. They raised the price of the Banshees. They had an introductory price. I think they gauge how popular they are, and then they... or with Galaxy's Edge, they realize that the only money they're really making off of it is the merchandise.
Right, so they're upping the prices.
Because it is a ghost town, regardless of what Disney wants to say.
So even these little tiny plushies, okay? They aren't that big. There's their hand, okay? Shows you how small they are. Went up from... They went up $2. So they're $17.99 for the Porg. It's now $19.99. And Ahsoka went up $2 to $22.99. And and then Tuca Doll went up $2. That went up $2. That's $23 or $20 now. $20 for that.
It looks like a dog toy.
Watto is now $20. Now he's actually really cute though.
Watto's hella cute.
He's
I would actually buy.
Cute. I would still buy him.
Watto,
I wanted to buy these, but I'm like, these prices. Okay, Kylo Ren's $23. Lando's $23. So if you're a face character, I mean, that's not worth $23. I'm sorry. Stormtrooper $23. Vader $23 again. Yeah, $23. So Jabba the Hutt's $23. So they rate okay.
So yeah,
Chewbacca
like
I might have to have.
a $3.
Ray, who cares?
Yeah.
Chewbacca. Oh my God. Okay, I might have to have that. I have a little Ewok problem. That one is really really cute. I might have to buy that. Small. But still, they're
Why is Yoda more than the Ewok?
I don't know. And I mean, okay, Leia's cool. She's 23, but still, the prices are high. The card games
went up. Everything went up.
The wooden toys and instruments went up. And so, the $2 here, $2 there. Okay. Yeah, it adds up. And people are like, I'm going to keep going down. There's whistles. There's,
And people were already complaining.
Oh, this one. Look at this one.
Oh my God.
$25 to $40.
$25 to $40. That's crazy.
So I'm like, go ahead. What were you going to say? Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, people were already complaining about the merchandise prices in Galaxy's Edge. So what do we do? Just raise the prices.
Yeah.
And they're probably doing this in anticipation of Disney World. because it'll probably be the same prices in Disney World, and they probably expect more people to go to Disney World than what.
I'm sure they're not
Galaxy's
wrong
Edge.
about that. I'm sure Disney World's going to be bigger, and I know they're not blocking out the dates. I don't think. Oh, they're like they are here, but and they're counting on merchandise. Blocking out dates to pass holders is probably not smart.
No.
It really, you guys made some big mistakes here, but. What they're trying to do is, it seems like, oh, it's only $2 here. It's only, 49 cents there. Okay, yeah, they've raised food prices. They've raised parking prices. They're raising merchandise prices. They just keep raising the prices. And it might be like $2 here and $5 there and $3 here. And by the time you're done, you're paying $50 to $100 a day more than you were paying before. Times how many guests?
Yeah, and if you've got a family of 4 or 5, it's really going to add up. So it's just getting up. Well, this kind of brings me to the next point. So this article dropped today. Have Disneyland fans finally reached their limit?
I think it's Disney fans in general, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's Disney World too. I think and yeah, even people, movies and everything else. I think we're gonna see people get to a point where they're like, we're not paying anymore, especially the parks. And the parks is all the reason we keep bringing the parks up is the parks have always been, like Geeky was saying, the go-to for Disney. When something fails in another part of the company, they always go back to the theme parks and try to double dip, triple dip, quadruple dip, gouge, whatever you want to call it. The theme park fans, we saw, the ridiculous overnight price increase in annual passes in Disney World, completely unannounced, and they always try to put a positive spin on it. They always try to make it out like, they're bringing you more magic.
Yeah, they're doing you a favor.
They're doing you a favor by charging you more.
This is costing you more because there's more magic. More magic. It's like magic only goes so far, people. I'm sorry.
Right. So, yeah, this article I'm going to read, it's actually very short, and it's pretty on the nose here about what's going on and what Disney customers can expect as Disney frantically tries to pay down its debt.
Yeah, it has to be paid in like a year, apparently. A lot of it, a bunch of it has to be paid off in 12 months.
It's going to be really interesting to see what happens with Disney Plus, too, and I'm going to bring that up after this. So after years of raising ticket prices, has Disneyland finally discovered the limit that its fans are willing to pay? The Walt Disney Company recently reported its financial results. We talked about that, and they included a rare decrease in theme park attendance at both Disneyland and Walt Disney World. Attendance dropped 3% at Disney's U.S. theme parks, despite the opening of Galaxy's Edge in Anaheim. So it might actually drop more because people were going for the opening. And if it continues to decline, if you were around in January '87, you remember the epic crowds that packed Disneyland for the 60-hour opening for Star Tours. I remember the first time I rode Star Tours was 89 or 90. It was one of our first trips to Disneyland, and I remember waiting a very, very, very long time to ride Star Tours. And then I was shocked when we went to Disney World, and it was basically a walk-on.
Yeah, it depends on the time of day, but
so, they're like, hey, if that many people showed up for a Star Wars ride in the 80s when Star Wars,
wasn't
ruined, how many would show up for a Star Wars land? If Disneyland did everything it could do to manage the crowd size for Galaxy's Edge, that included another round of aggressive price hikes and an expansion of blockout dates for annual pass holders. More blockouts effectively serve as another form of a price increase, as it means less value in return for the money you pay for the pass. And it worked too well. Perhaps if everything would have been open in the new Star Wars land.
I think that's a big part of it.
Right. More fans would have seen the value in paying all the extra money to visit, but the land's biggest attraction, Rise of the Resistance, was not opening until January. So a lot of people stayed home. Eventually, Disneyland appears to have brought crowd levels back to normal with several discounts, including a new Disney Flex Passport that allows fans to come into the parks on days blocked out at a higher priced blocked out on higher price passes by making advanced reservations to visit.
Yep.
So basically, if we got room for you, you can come in, but you're going to pay extra. That's the big takeaway in all this. For years, it seemed that Disneyland could keep raising prices at will, and fans would continue to fill the parks. Well, Disney banks on that.
Iger had made comments like that before in interviews. He has made comments.
Iger has made some very arrogant comments where he's basically like, yeah, we can just keep raising the prices because that's good for people because it basically keeps out the riffraff and brings them more revenue.
And then they talk about advertising for Galaxy's Edge. Oh, we don't have to advertise. It sells itself.
We don't have to advertise for Galaxy's Edge. It sells itself. We don't have to do anything.
Yet, how many of you have told us that you get Galaxy's Edge ads?
In fact, I'd be really curious if those of you watching the video were actually had to sit through Galaxy's Edge ads.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Disney didn't even need to keep building new attractions since Cars Land opened in 2012. California Adventure had gotten only overlays like Guardians of the Galaxy, Pixar Pier, and Disneyland had not gotten an all-new permanent major attraction since Indiana Jones in 95.
Well, Indiana Jones is actually pretty good.
Indiana Jones is really good. So finally this spring, Disneyland fans collectively said, enough. If Disneyland wants more people to come to its park, fans want to see either lower prices or more new attractions in return.
Well, the problem with Disneyland, too, is they don't really have the room for a lot of more new attractions.
Well, they made room for Star Wars.
Well, I mean, they can make some room, but the difference between Disneyland and Walt Disney World, I think, is everything is really packed in at Disneyland.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Disney World, you have 4 different parks, and the same kind of rides are spread out over 4 places, and they have a lot more room to expand. Disneyland, you only have so much room.
They should build a second story.
There you go.
Charge people extra to go to the top. So with recent discounts and new Flex Pass, it appears Disney might have heard the message. Now, we should not forget that Disneyland ultimately made more money last quarter despite lower attendance, thanks in part to fans who did show up.
That's it right there.
Who did show up buying $100 droids and $200 lightsabers.
And how many times do you think people are going to do that?
Nobody's going to buy... You're not going to go buy a $200 lightsaber every time you go to Disneyland.
Right. So, I mean, especially when we're hearing they break. So, I mean, we can't vouch like, ourselves because we haven't actually bought one. I don't think I would ever spend $200 on a lightsaber.
I would never spend that kind of money.
But I'm hearing that they don't hold up very well. And that gets around. People are going to buy it one time just to do it. And then they don't need to do it again. Right.
It's not like... Because they have the build your own lightsabers on a smaller level at Disney World in Tatooine Traders. The kids built their own like Hasbro toy lightsabers, but they were like $25-$30.
They were nice though.
They were nice, and you could justify doing that a couple of times. Same with the Harry Potter wands in Universal. They're like $30 to $50. You can justify doing that a couple of times. $200 plus.
Right. Even then, I mean, I wouldn't do Harry Potter ones
Once maybe.
But they're saying Disney might have discovered the ceiling. Here's the thing. What I've been saying. I think people are starting to feel, and if Disney's listening to this, which I'm sure you are, I hope you take notes on this. I know you've listened to other things in the past. People are starting to feel less like the valued customers that you say they are and more like walking ATMs or money bags. They don't feel like you're listening. They don't feel like you care about the average person anymore. They just feel like all you want to do is make these empires in your name, Iger, and then make everybody else pay for it. And people have to save. A lot of people have to save for 2 years just to go once. And for them, it's like a big, big deal. A lot of people don't have unlimited money. $10,000 to go on a trip for a lot of people is a lot of money, and it takes them a long time to save it. And by making costs more, people are going to say no. I can take that $10,000 and go buy, a car and go to a local theme park. You know what I mean?
I am pretty sure Robert Niles is, he writes for theme park blogs. I'm pretty sure. And he said that, not even Disney can keep winning forever. Now, what this really is about, and this is where all the debt came from, is the streaming war. Disney Plus, because they bought Fox so they could lock down all this content for Disney Plus. But you know what? They're nonplussed about Disney Plus.
A lot of people have said they don't want it.
I don't know. I don't know how people are, because the launch titles are very weak.
Yeah.
And they're trying to make a case, now this is from Seeking Alpha, trying to make a case for why you should buy Disney stock and not buy Netflix stock. And I agree, you probably shouldn't buy Netflix stock either, but Disney, I don't think Disney Plus is going to be the slam dunk they think it is.
I don't either.
I think Disney is so used to winning, I think they can just walk into this and just win. Just hey, we're Disney, we're here, we got Star Wars, we got Marvel, and we're seeing now that like Star Wars especially, that brand is not worth as much as it used to be.
They've already killed that one effectively.
And it's a matter of time until Marvel probably
they're working on killing that one too.
Yeah. After Endgame, I think Marvel was done for a lot of people. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep the numbers up, the momentum up on Marvel now they've killed off or, sidelined all the characters everybody really gave a shit about. Kind of like they did with Star Wars, And
then it'll somehow be all the bad people who are just bad people who don't like strong women or are racist or whatever. It will be their fault that the movies don't do well. The small local minority that tanks a whole franchise.
So what he's talking about here, and why he's making a case for Disney, and why Disney will win over Netflix in the long run, is more timeless content. I I don't know about that. I don't know if Disney's content means as much as it used to.
I think everybody's tired of the constant live action reboots. I mean, just, make new things. How hard is that? People want Disney to make new things and not keep giving them. Now they're talking about doing Aladdin too.
Yeah, I don't want an Aladdin 2. I don't, unless they like remake the direct-to-video sequels, which they're talking about how Disney owns all the content, so they don't have to pay. That is true. But they also have to spend a lot more, because people want, Marvel, etc., and that's going to cost more money. But this is interesting. They said that right now, and I brought this up in the video the other day talking about Netflix and why, the Netflix stock being valued very, very high and how people think that Netflix is going to drop like 70%. And I had some people arguing with me who said that it's not really that simple. And I agree, it's not that simple. Seeking Alpha said, unbelievably, despite all the advantages, Netflix is still the more expensive stock of the two with a PE ratio of 122. Disney, on the other hand, is trading at a PE ratio of 19, running a simplified valuation. After what they would look like in 5 years, they said it would take Disney roughly until 2023 to get to the point where Netflix is now. But Netflix is going to decline. So you have people that are basically, like, oh, buy Disney. Disney's a sure thing. Like, everybody thinks Disney's a sure thing.
Well, one thing I'd say is D23 is coming. I wouldn't do anything until you hear what they're saying in D23, for one. If you asked me, because I'd want to see what they're going to spend money on. I want to see what other things they're doing besides Disney Plus.
Well, this is the thing, too. And people think this is just a Disney versus Netflix battle. It's not. It's Disney versus Netflix versus Comcast Universal, who are going to launch their own streaming service, and they're their biggest competitor in the park. And I really do think that Nintendo is going to wipe the floor.
Well, Iger even admitted they took a hit from Universal. They never admit that, ever. That's like, you don't ever say that over there.
No, yeah, and Universal, Disney had to slash prices, and Universal slashed them further. Universal's got Nintendo. I bet that Nintendo announcement comes during
I
D23
bet so too.
weekend.
We'll hear other ones too, I'm sure.
Yeah, so and they've also got Warner Brothers they have to contend with. So it could even be that Universal, Warner Brothers, and Netflix all team up at some point to try to take down Disney.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you about Disney stocks. We have them. I think Disney, and I mean, I still do like Disney. People will get mad at me for saying that, but I do. I like Disney parks. I like Disney merchandise. I still like some aspects of Disney. Not a lot of it. I think Disney's getting too arrogant. Yeah. And I think Disney's getting too greedy. And that's why I have a problem. I think they need to understand that people have limits, that they should treat people again like the customers. They used to treat customers very well. They need to go back to doing that and not treating them like, they're just an ATM machine, because that's a problem. People aren't stupid. They know what you're doing. They know how you're using them and trying to manipulate them to get their money. They know. They're not dumb. I know it works on me because I buy a lot of your stuff and you keep putting out cute crap and my credit card cries. But I'm just saying, people are going to get to limits. They're not going to go because they can't afford it. And if theme parks are bailing you out, your bailout plan's tanking.
That's just it. And that's really where we're trying to come full circle on this, is Disney pretty much counted their chickens before they were hatched, or their porgs before they were hatched.
Ducks.
Their ducks. They thought that
I like porgs better. But.
Yeah, well, they thought that Star Wars was going to make them more money than it has. They thought that the theme parks would never see a decline. That it was just going to go up and up and up and up and up.
They thought they could blue milk the audience forever, or green milk. Depends
right.
how depends how you feel.
And what are you feeling today? You feeling like
well, I'll say feel and say depending on what gender you are, because that'll start another fight. There's nothing to do with that at all.
God, that reminded me of a really bad joke from Kingpin, where they milk the bull. Never mind. So anyway. Yeah, so the point of this being, Disney's massively in debt. Things aren't performing as well as they were expecting. I do not think Disney Plus is going to be the end-all, be-all like Disney thinks it is.
Not for a few years.
Disney, again, this comes down to arrogance. I think they can just walk right in and take over.
We saw it with Star Wars.
Yeah. And that's not going to be the case. There's a lot more competition, and Disney is bloated right now. It's like steering the Titanic at, well, that's a bad analogy now, but it's a very big company to be able to pivot, on a dime, whereas, companies like Netflix, honestly, who only deals in streaming media can turn faster.
I don't know if the Titanic's a bad example because there's a big giant iceberg. It's mostly under the water, and it's people that are sick of paying out the money. And if they can't find a way to get around it, that they're going to hit it, and it's going to tank a lot of franchises.
There's a lot
so that's actually not a bad analogy.
Yeah, there's a lot of Disney backlash now, and the company has sort of cultivated this culture. I mean, it used to be people thought more positively of Disney, and now when they think of Disney, they think of Disney as this evil, faceless corporation that just wants to buy and run everything into the ground.
Right, and that wasn't the way people thought of them before, but they're doing it to themselves.
So, people are eventually going to tire. Even if you buy everything, I think a lot of times just in protest, people will go find another alternative just to spite you. So I think they have a lot of debt, and I don't know how much of that they're going to be able to pay down. I don't know. I don't think Disney Plus is going to be a slam dunk.
I think it'll do well after a few years when it has the content, because it's not going to have the content for a few years. A lot of the Marvel content isn't going to be out until 2020.
Yeah,
and they're not going to have it. So when it starts originally, that's mostly what they have in their catalog, and a couple things they've worked on. They were going to put out in the theaters, and now they're pulling it back for this. They don't have the content. It's going to take a while, just because that's what people aren't going to buy it until there's stuff to watch.
Yeah, what is the must-have or the must-see show on Disney Plus at launch is going to be The Mandalorian, which is Star Wars, which is a damaged franchise.
Well, not just that. People are just going to buy it, watch Mandalorian, and probably cancel.
Oh, you know what they'll do? They'll trickle out an episode every week to make sure you have.
Yeah, and after you finish watching The Mandalorian, you cancel. That's what's going to happen. Yep. But what else they have? Wicked Tuna. Why would you go watch Wicked Tuna there? I mean, come on. That's what they're putting out. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking. I think that they're tricking out. I understand you don't want to have it all at launch, but when you have that little and you don't have new stuff coming until 2020, a lot of the newer stuff that you're banking on, you might want to put more into it when you launch it. Now, we'll be hearing more about it at D23, though, so they might be making some more announcements.
Yeah, I think a day of reckoning is coming, and I think what's going to happen is Bob Iger is going to split. He's going to leave the next CEO with a lot of mess to clean up. And, and he'll be able to brag and say, well, I grew Disney on my watch and yada, yada, yada. It's their problem now.
I was just going to say, people, you have a chance to get people back. I think you still have time to get people back. Like, you haven't lost us completely, even though we're getting close. I think you have a chance.
How many anti-Disney videos have we done?
I mean, we're not really anti. We always say we always are honest. We say we still like the parks. We still like some of the stuff they have, but we don't like a lot of the things they're doing. And I think a lot of people are feeling the same way. And I think you're reaching that point of no return here soon. If you don't, move the ship, you're going to hit the iceberg, and it's not going to be. You're not going to be able to come back from it. So you need to start, looking at the bigger picture here and being like, maybe we shouldn't gouge everyone. Maybe we should offer more at where we do Disney Plus's launch. Maybe we should, there's some different things we can do to try to, win some goodwill back. Maybe we shouldn't ruin Star Wars. Oh wait, too late for that one. But there's ways you could probably earn goodwill back, and you're not doing it. So you need to start thinking about that and moving forward.
Yeah, and they just don't like to admit when they're wrong. And that's the biggest problem, I think, with Disney right now is they cannot admit when they're wrong.
Well, I can't say anything about that.
But it's going to cost them. It's going to cost them. Too. I mean, it's going to cost them. It's going to cost them a lot of money, I think, before it's all said.
Yeah, and they could stop it, sooner rather than later. But I don't know if they will.
I don't think they will. I think they'll go down with the ship.
Because we're Disney, and it's like,
go down playing the violins.
Yeah, you could stop it now. You could not hit that iceberg, but if you keep it up, you better watch it, because the iceberg's there, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and you're going to hit it. So.
All right, so we're going to wrap this one up.
Yep.
Okay, so please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants here on Clownfish TV. We'll keep an eye on the Disney drama, as well as other pop culture news. This has been Neon and Geeky.
Bye.
Goodbye. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.